Welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it right here. Tonight we are talking about the welfare of the child. And before we went on a very short break, we're looking at how safe are our children with the nanny. And Rev, ulikuwa unataka kuchangia.
Thank you very much, Faith. And Prof has really put it very well before we went on break concerning the nannies and the counseling of the nanny, which is important. I got to say again and again, a nanny or a house girl or a maid, others call them TA, technical assistants, others call them DO, domestic officers, whichever name you may want to use for your nanny. I would want to say they are very important persons in our homes and in our lives. Realize that your nanny is not at the same level of training as you in most cases. Almost 100% nannies are not as endowed financially as you are.
Yeah.
If you're a primary school teacher earning 20 or 30,000, then your nanny is earning like 8 or 10,000. Financially not the same. That's why you're hiring this person, because you are more endowed than they are. In that, realize that they are less privileged than you are. So treat them with honor. Some of us hire nannies and we expect the nannies to think like us, to see things like us. I sometimes tell people, if that nanny was thinking as you, then she will not be in your house. Then it means she will be employing people, she will not be employed.
Sure.
So when you say, I have told this nanny to wash the baby well, they can't wash well. Like the Prof has said, whoever trained this nanny how to bathe the baby. So you can say, mtoto woshi vizuri, ulimwonyesha vile mtoto anaoshwa. Anaosha nguo, amefua nguo, amezianika. And you're like, kwani hizi manguo umeanikaje, hujanika vizuri? Did you ever show her how to hang clothes? She has cleaned the clothes and you're like, hizi nguo si safi. Did you ever show her how to clean clothes? Maybe she's in an urban setup. She has come from a rural area where the house was not even paved. You did not have the cement on the floor. It was soil. So to her, she was used to kumwaga maji ndani ya nyumba ili vumbi isiamke. Now she has cleaned the house and you can tell the water is not properly dried. And you are like, nyumba gani umeosha? Na hii maji haijakaushwa vizuri. Yeye mahali ametoka Ulishagi anajua nyumba isipokaushwa vizuri ndio inakuwa safi. Cause ikiwa ya matope inamwagwa maji ili vumbi isiamke. So have you taken time to train your nanny? If it is taking care of the baby, as Professor said before it on break, how much water? The size of the basin, the temperature of the water. Do you have all the ingredients you require? The towel, the Vaseline, the soap. Do you have it all around there before you start the bathing of the baby? When it comes to food, you're like, huyu house girl anapika machakula, and I would say it's machakula. Did you ever teach her how to cook? So that she does not cook the machakula.
Sure.
You can even take her, a 1-day training for her, or 2 days, or take her to someone who knows how to cook, or even invite someone who you think is a good chef or cook to come and train her just how to do the cooking. The ingredient. Msichana anaweka chakula imejaa chumvi hata watu hawezi kukula. Hii machakula yake hata sukuma wiki, angalia hii sukuma hata ni mrefu, hajui kukatakata sukuma. Sincerely, you have not taken time to train. And you see in computer they say garbage in, garbage out. So if you have not invested in her, why do you expect anything good out of the nanny? So I would really go to what Prof said. It's important to train our nannies. That's 1. 2, treat them with respect and honor.
Alright.
Hii heshima ndogo ndogo na madharau kwa house help sio mzuri. Let the house girl eat the food the rest of the family is eating. She is a human being like any other human being. She is someone's child, just like your child in the house. Treat her with honor and respect.
Alright.
You garbage in, garbage out. You respect her, you get respect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe briefly, let's mention our nanny comes really necessary, especially now that we are talking about child safety.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we said, the moment you have treated this person with respect, chances are they will also take care of your child.
Okay.
However, it is also good to do some little monitoring, even if it's a phone call. If she does not have a phone, you'd rather get her phone so that at the place of work you can keep calling her. I think not really surveillance. Sometimes you're having the phone of a neighbor, so that you can even tell the neighbor, nimepiga simu kwangu na haichukuliwi, hebu niangalilie. So that if there is something amiss in your home, you can be able to arrest it before it is too far.
Okay.
Yes. So for the sake of the safety of the child, it's also good like to ensure that you are keeping in touch with the nanny, and you also have a neighbor that you can reach in case the nanny amemaliza 1 hour, 2 hours, hajapiga simu, and there is another voice telling you things are not well. You can call the neighbor to have an eye on your family.
All right. Let's talk about the social structure of the child. I'd love us to discuss about stability, especially in the family. We have parents who nowadays, you go where you are assigned and where your duty takes you, where you are appointed at work. One day you are in Mombasa, the next you're in Kisumu, and you take your family with you in all these places. How does this impact the life of the child socially?
Right. It impacts the life of the child big time. Because when any human being and even children, they like consistency, and feelings of security develop out of consistency. When they have friends in the neighborhood and they have to move, that is going to feel in the heart of the child that something is being robbed from them, because they're being moved from a particular locality to another locality. And sometimes the careers we have will make you move from one place to the other, because the employer will take you wherever they think that your services are required, whether those are teachers or even clergy or even agricultural officers or whoever. Many jobs that people hold will make them to move from one place to the other. And that means that you're going to move with the children. And sometimes parents think, when I go with my children, then they are safe, because I'm going to be seeing them, I'm going to be available. But that makes a lot of sense, availability of the parent to the children. But again, it is also good to look at the flip side of that when you keep moving children from one place to the other, then they decide, I'm not going to invest. I'm not going to invest in relationships wherever I go. And they also develop a very inconsistent personality. Inconsistent in the sense that they never finish, they never go through a whole process to the very end. And that can become an individual who is going to be very unhealthy into the future, because of that one element that we have not taken care of. In terms of children's security and moving, that means that when you're moving to another locality, then you need to orient the child to some of the dangers that can be in that locality, so that the child can know what to take care of. And as Lefred said, what are the rules and regulations, or the ground rules, like he put it, that the child needs to have in order to protect himself or herself. The child needs to know that these rules are for their own protection, so that they can feel that they have an obligation to follow them through.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of security of the children and what we need to do, just to add up one thing, is that those ground rules, even when you're at the university, even when you're a big child, the ground rules help. I can simply give my own, example. Our daughter who is at the university, heading third year now, we have a ground rule. If you are to go out with someone for a date, leave the number behind. Okay. Just write the telephone number, put it in your bedroom or somewhere we can see, so that if you go and something happens, we have someone to call and get to know what happened. If you don't really feel like the relationship you are in or the coffee you are having, you really don't want to disclose who you are going out with. Most of the time, we are going out with this, Faith, they are going out with Catherine. But if you're going out and you don't feel like you want to disclose who you're going out with, leave their phone number behind, just in case something happens. So those are ground rules. However, the issue of the social, capital, building on a social capital for the child is very important. When you move a child from one locality to another, there is a way that affects them. And it affects them, one, in a way that they are no longer able to trust even the friends or the neighbor, because they know, hata tukitrust hawa, within no time tutahama from this area again. And I would want really to speak especially to the employers, including my own employer.
Right.
To the employers, it is necessary to be considerate of the family before you move or relocate the family or an employee from one place to the other. Consider, where is this person settled? What classes are the children in? What are the ages of the children you are relocating? Because when they relocate to a completely new places, they have to start now building another social capital. You see the way, like I was saying, like you can even call a neighbor in the event that in your home there is a challenge. Now when you have moved these people to a new place, you don't know a neighbor, you don't know the place a person you can be able to call there. So if you can make the movements as minimal as possible, the better. However, sometimes it's inevitable. One is an ambassador. You have to move them out of the country.
Yeah.
You know, the others it's like, and I was saying, I'm also speaking to my employer. You know, make the movements minimal, and if one has to move, make the distances also not as much. So that if one is settled in a place, you can move them within the radius where they can be able to be moving and traveling back to their home. It's necessary for the sake of the stability of the family.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Let's talk about when the kids are young and small. We as parents, look at me saying we as parents, but parents, when they're dressing up, they don't feel the need of getting their kids out of the room because they assume, the child is young, she doesn't understand, he doesn't really know what is happening, so okay, you dress up in front of them. I'd love to start with you, Prof. Is this wrong? Is it that we assume the child is young, but actually they can tell what is happening, or we should really not bother and keep on dressing until they're at a certain age?
Children don't like it when parents are shameless. And shameless in the sense that the parent is undressing and dressing in front of the children because they are not of the same age. And it is like you're not respecting that this child is going to be affected by who you are, your organs and all that, because they are big. And the child will start thinking, wow, mine is small, daddy's is big, or mommy's is big. And every child feels there has been like a sexual molestation around, being exposed to the parents' nakedness. Whether that nakedness, the parent undressed in front of them, or even that the children know that mom or dad has inappropriate relationships out there. Because that's like nakedness, because the children are knowing aspects about you as a parent that they should not actually be knowing. And this makes the child to have a low self-esteem, to look at himself or herself and feel pity on himself or herself, because the parent is not treating herself or himself with honor. That dishonor labs on the child badly. And it is abuse on the child, because when it is presented to us in counseling, it is presented to us as abuse. I felt abused. I felt like my mother was molesting me by undressing in front of me. Sometimes it can be very innocent of mom or dad, but that innocence is very dangerous, and it is something that one needs to think about, because when you give birth to a child, you now need to know you're not age mates with your children. You are the parent, they are the children, and they need to pick from you. And especially issues to do with mothering, they need you to be above board. So going to, like, you're driving and the skirt is up to I don't know where.
Yeah.
Because the skirt is keeping on moving as you're driving, and you're not aware of that, and your son is next to you.
Yeah.
What kind of behaviors are those? Or even when we are watching the soaps at home, and we are very unconscious of ourselves because we are getting entertained by the TV, and we expose ourselves. Or you come with your nightgown and your biology has come out. Really, it is something that parents need to think about, because they are abusive to the thinking and the feeling of the children.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it cannot be said any better. The Prof has put it as it is. It's shameless for a parent to be doing that. It is abusive to the child. When you undress, you are not the same age as the child. And I'm sorry here, but the most people who are notorious in this are women, not men. More women will undress in the presence of the children than men. Why do I say this? It's very hard for men to even spend the night together. Finding a man going to bed with another man in natural circumstances, a man and the father going to to spend the night in the same bed, it's not natural for men.
Sure.
But for women, you'll find a lady and the mother, and she's a grown lady. Yeye na mama yake kuingia kitanda moja walale pamoja, it's not issue. They will even sit there and discuss stuff. Even in matters probably sometimes bathing and all that. Men, especially when they are beyond a certain age, like after class 8, they have been circumcised, they're in the high school and all that, men start feeling a little bit uncomfortable to spend together, using the same room or the same bed. Even when you put men together, like you have gone on a conference, and you put men together in the same conference, and you put 2 men in the same room, men have a challenge sharing the room. Even like, sleeping. If they find it's one big bed, one would rather almost spend on the floor other than spend on the same bed. But ladies are different. Ladies can even abandon one bed and decide to use one bed. Yeah. So that aspect of a lady undressing in the presence of a fellow lady and feeling very easy and no problem, it can easily roll into the children. Whereby you are dressing or undressing in the presence of the children. Ladies wearing the nightgown and walking all over the house in the evening. Amekuja, ameshawa, amewear the nightgown and walking all over with the children. It's also something I've seen a little bit more comfortable with the ladies doing than most men doing. Of course, there are a few men that will do that. But it's important to realize that it's not necessary. Then where the Prof has said, and I like that example, a lady wearing a very short dress, and she's driving, and she has her son, and unconsciously she keeps on driving, and the dress is still moving up, and she has a grown son. That is an abuse to the son. One starts feeling uncomfortable. Unaona kijana anajaribu kuangalia mbele, anaangalia kando, because this is a mother, for heaven's sake. This is not a girlfriend that is doing this. This is a mother. So I would say it is necessary for us not to dress or undress in the presence of the children, because we tend to abuse them. Even for men, it's not good. You cannot go because your son is of age and you are going to, changing room together with them. No, it's not a good thing for us to be doing around. Okay. Yes. It's also an African. Anyway, it's an African.
Okay.
It's an African.
What of when parents become too mushy in the house in front of their kids? Is that wrong? Because again, we have 2 aspects to this: showing the kids that we are a happy family, this is the way to love your partner, and being too much and exposing a lot to your kids.
It happens, Faith, which is also a very sad affair, in the sense that when children pick, it is romance, like you are in bed and not at the table room and in a public place. What happens is that they feel ashamed, and they would want to get away, because they're thinking, whatever mom and dad are into, we should not be here. And therefore, in terms of boundary making, because parents need to understand boundaries and teach their children on boundaries, it's important to know things that you can do in front of the children and things you don't have to do. you can hold hands, and hold hands in a very platonic way. Like there is something you're talking about and you can hold hands. But it's not looking like romance. It's looking like a story you are telling each other.
Yeah.
And you're very animated in telling that story. Even them, they will laugh at mom and dad in how they are telling the story and even enjoy the story. Because they can see there is no love content in whatever mom and dad are doing. This is a social interaction within a social unit that they are enjoying, and the interactions, even the children can chip into those interactions. So I think it's important for parents to know whether they are shouting at each other and calling each other very bad names. Even prostitutes, you are a prostitute, you what? You know, things to do with relationships and inappropriate relationships, and they're being shouted to the other partner or to the intimate partner in front of the children is something that we need to get away from. We need to be cultured, and we need to be restrained in front of the children, because that is garbage when it comes to the children. And it is garbage that we need to remove from them, because once it lands on them, they don't know how to remove it from within themselves, because it's not like our normal garbage which we can correct and throw it in another place. Once we have internal garbage, especially that which is coming from the parents, it becomes very toxic.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, parents can show love without being romantic.
Okay.
Because it's necessary for the children to know we love each other here, we respect each other in this family, without being very romantic. And this you can show how you're communicating. The words between the husband and the wife, mother and the father, those words can be in a way to show that we love each other. But we are not really being mushy-mushy. We're not touching each other, cuddling in the presence of the children, and you're all over cuddling each other. No, you can hold hands, like Prof says. You can show love, because it's necessary for the children to realize that we are growing up in an environment of love, where we are loved, mommy and dad love each other, but you're not being romantic. Because again, it's a foundation you are building with the children. But the kamushi-mushi, you're all over kissing each other and not really pecking. You know, the people who don't just peck, they will even really like kiss. They cuddle each other. Now that is being an African. That's again being uncultured. That's again trying to show your children what they should not be seeing. And like Prof says, they will feel like you are putting us in a space where we are not supposed to be in.
An awkward space.
And very awkward, an awkward space. This is your space, Daddy. You don't have to show us how you made us. You know, no, we know you have made us. That's why we are here. But we are out here on soap opera to be shown how we were made. No, you don't want to show them. Show them you love each other, but again, do not be romantic in the presence of your children.
All right.
Yes.
I'm really glad we had this conversation this evening
Thank you.
about the welfare of the child, something that doesn't come out very often, because most of the times we think that it's up to the mother and the father, you know, are you happy, go for counseling and all that, and you forget that everything they do affects the children in terms of how they will turn out to be as they grow up. And I'm so grateful that you guys are part of this episode tonight. I'd love us to end the program there. Is there anything else you'd love to add in terms of the welfare of the child, briefly?
Mine is to say, bring up a child that the Bible says in the right way, they will never move away from it. The example you set as a parent to your child, it is very crucial. Even if that child deviates a little bit, they will later on come onto it. Always ask yourself, what is it I am investing in this child that I would want to reap in future? Whatsoever a man or a woman soweth, the same they shall reap. Sow well in your child, and you'll be glad in your old age. God bless you.
Yeah, and in line with what Leverett has said, I have said in my effective parenting book, you can gain the whole world and lose your only children. And if you lose your only children, it is going to be pain and hurt and agony in your old age.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you all for today. Thank you as well for tuning in. I believe and hope that you have learned as much as I have, because we have really talked about things that one wouldn't have bothered to look at them and how they really affect our children. I'm glad you were able to be part of tonight's episode. Till next time, my name is Faith Kaulu. Goodbye.